Welcome to episode 249 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Walton. As always, I'm joined by Dan Reamer.
Good morning.
Good morning. Episode 249.
249. That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's Sunday. Feeling good?
Yeah, it is Sunday. I don't know about feeling good, but it's Sunday.
I woke up extra early, so I'm real awake.
Oh, I was up at like 8. So
there's some mornings where I wake up about 30 minutes before the podcast starts.
Right. Sometimes 30 seconds.
No, never that.
Never that bad?
Maybe like once or twice. But I have that sleep brain still.
Yeah, where you're still like cobwebby.
Yeah. I did wake up. You ever just wake up shitty though?
Oh yeah.
I woke up that way like today where, I don't know, like, it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel right.
Yeah, I start out shitty every day and then work myself up to normal. So
I mean, I usually do, but this morning was like more than normal. I woke up shitty. I think maybe it was just too early. I woke up at like 5:30.
Wow, why so early? Did you go to bed early?
Yeah, I went to bed stupid early.
Yeah, that's why. That happens to me too.
Yeah, so I woke up early and I went and played a little Switch and just kind of goofed off. But yeah, I just woke up shitty today. But I'm in a good mood.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You were not in a good mood the other night. I don't care what you say. I know you're saying I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. You weren't fine. You were not in a good mood. You were tired or
I was tired. I wasn't in a bad mood. I was just tired. I shouldn't have played, but, you know, I always want to play. I'm like a little kid.
What about the night before? I heard stories about the night before. I didn't play the night before, but I heard stories about the night before.
You can't trust the source on those stories. I was in a fine mood then, too. I've been extremely tired because I switched. So Friday of last week, I finally switched to the new job.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday through Thursday was just hell trying to just finish everything up.
Wrap up. Yep.
And then I got to Friday and started the new job, and it was like I lost 200 pounds because everything was just fucking done with the other job.
Weight off?
Yeah, totally. But I was so exhausted from the week, I haven't been able to feel like I can catch up.
Gotcha.
And so last night I was like, I was falling asleep on the couch at like 8 o'clock. And I was like, I'm still going to play tonight because I'm an idiot.
Mm-hmm. And then you decided you weren't an idiot because you didn't play.
Yeah. Well, so I had my Switch over there and was kind of, you know, when you're really tired, when like I don't want to play anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd start a game, like I don't want to play this. And I'd start another game, I was like, I don't want to play this. Really, the problem was me. And so it's probably, I had college football on, which I don't care about. And it was probably 10 o'clock, and I was like, all right, I'm going to jump on. And I already had my headset and the controller and stuff ready. I got up to get my headset when it was right beside me, and I was like, I need to just go to bed. Like, I can't even function correctly. Because it was like 2 inches from me, and I got up to go get it off the base where it wasn't. I was like, where the fuck is my headset? And now, like, mad at somebody.
Right.
When I'm the one that moved it beside me.
Yeah.
So then I just went to bed.
I get it, yeah. Yeah, because I stayed up last night, played, see if you were going to get on. When you weren't on around, I don't know, 11 o'clock, I guess, I just ditched. I was like, yeah, I'm going to bed. So what have you played this week?
A lot of the same, you know, my typical Rocket League. Rocket League's got a badass Halloween celebration thing going on with... They're evolving their loot crates a little bit, which I think we'll talk about a little later in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing some things different there that is making me want to play during this time frame. We played some Battle Royale, some Fortnite Battle Royale, which I can't tell if we're getting better or worse at. But it's still fun, man. There's so many people playing that game.
Well, I do want to give a shout out to our good friend Howard because he played Battle Royale, and I know you hate this, Ryan.
He doesn't deserve this.
I know, but he played Battle Royale, and he won.
He doesn't deserve the shout-out for it, though.
So that's two of our friends who have...
He gloated, though. He doesn't deserve...
He did gloat.
The spotlight.
He did gloat.
If he would have calmly said, hey, guys, I just won, and I want to know that I want you to know I was able to win because of the skills that you guys taught me while playing together.
I think the most important thing to understand about that is actually I was in a party with him when he won,
mm-hmm.
and I'm the one who guided him to his win.
But you didn't get any credit though,
because he forgot. He told you, but that's all the credit I got. But
it wasn't even. It was like passing though.
It wasn't passing. But I reminded him because he was basically commentating to me the whole time when he was playing on what was happening.
Because you couldn't see.
Right, because I couldn't see. So then he discussed how, this guy's building walls, and I got a sniper rifle. I said, he's just lobbing grenades at me. So I was like, dude, do you have grenades? And I knew this because, like, I'd been with him since he was, like, at 33 or 39 or something. And I'm like, dude, you got grenades too. You picked up a grenade launcher. Oh, yeah, you're right, I did. So he just starts lobbing grenades, blowing up with this guy's build, and then shot him in the face.
Let me ask you this. When he was down to 2, did you think he was going to win?
I didn't have enough information to know, but I know that he got very lucky. He was right on the edges of the circles, like, every time.
Yeah.
So he kind of got lucky where he decided to land, I think, which that's part of it. That's what you do with that is part of it. So I'm not taking anything away from him at all. Because regardless, coming back from 40 people is significant. Or 100 people is significant. So I'm not taking anything away from him. And he plays the stealth approach where he does a lot of hiding. Not a lot of the run and gun. There's essentially 2 styles of play. Is stealth mode, where you hide, you go from bush to bush, you try to for no one to see you, and then you can be sneaky. The other one is beast mode, where you just run around and shoot people. Those are basically the 2 ways to play that game. There's really nothing in between. And he chose stealth mode, and obviously did a good job on his hiding. And then when it just got down to him and the other gentleman, he had a plan. He forgot about the grenade part of the plan that he had. So I helped talk him to that. So it was kind of nice because I kind of felt like Mother. Like if it's a special forces unit, I was like Mother. I was guiding my guys through it. So then he ended up winning, and congratulations, Howard. I know you were happy. I don't know if he was happy that he won or happy that he did it before you did, Ryan. But
that seemed to be the only thing he was excited about.
But he did win. So congratulations, Howard. Ryan is probably not going to say congratulations as well, but I will give you a congratulations.
I wasn't even going to give you this 30
glad
seconds.
That I was able to assist you.
You don't deserve it, and you didn't even get any credit. I don't know why you're saying you assisted. He took all the credit. He made it all about him.
But I did. I know what I did in my. I don't need the praise. I know what I accomplished, and that's good enough for me.
I'm taking away the congratulations.
Okay,
there's no congratulations. Might edit this part out of the podcast. I haven't even decided yet. Might just skip straight to whatever we talk about next.
Sure, that's fair.
I also played some Snake Pass on the Switch. I try Golf Story every day. Still broken. That's the update on Golf Story. Still tiny. Still can't play that. Played some Sonic Mania. It's kind of jumped around on my Switch. Still haven't started Stardew yet, just because I know that'll be a giant time suck when I do.
Right.
On there. And then I picked up Gran Turismo Sport. I've played very little of that, so I'm not even going to really comment on it other than it looks really pretty.
Well, here's what I can tell you the very little I know about it, and this is going off our good friend at Goddammit Matt.
Mm-hmm.
On Tuesday night,
a lot about it.
What's that?
I've talked to him a lot about it. Yeah.
On Tuesday night, he's put on social media that it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 days later, he said, "I was wrong. This game is awesome." On social media. So I don't know the ins and outs of what happened there, but it's a big deal for Matt to admit that he was wrong about something. So
so he went in with expectations, just like I did, that the VR you could drive any car in VR in any race. It's a mode. It's 1v1 when you're in it.
Okay.
So that was, I think, an initial letdown, and it is drastically different from any other Gran Turismo. I mean, you can tell it just in the menus. That game is different.
Is it more arcadey as opposed to sim? Or
no, it's more Project Cars than Gran Turismo.
Okay. Though. Okay.
So I mean, it still has the hook of unlocking cars and helmets and different things like that, wheels, but it's not as much build your garage, and it's more like be a real racer. Like, you can get sponsored, and hey, I'm going to drive for Nissan, and when you drive Nissan in races, you get more money because they're paying you more, and it's very deep still. So it's not arcadey, but it's just different. And I think as he got in there, not to put words in his mouth, but we talked a lot about it. I think as he got in there, he found a different Gran Turismo hook that he does really love.
Okay.
But it was just not... He went in looking for the old experience and didn't find it, so he was upset at first, which I understand. I mean, he basically tried to talk me out of getting it.
Right.
So it wasn't just like he was mad at it. Like, he didn't even think I should spend my money on it.
Right.
But, of course, I don't care. I'm going to play whatever I want to play anyways. And I'd already bought it. I just ordered it from Amazon late because I was so on the fence about it.
Right.
So I had to wait an extra day for it to come in. So I've played it. I'm very early on in it.
So far, you're happy with the experience?
Yeah, I haven't gotten far enough to be unhappy with it.
Okay.
I'm sure that I'll go through that same thing he went through. I just haven't done enough.
Okay.
Like, it wouldn't even be fair for me to say. I've only done like the driving school stuff and not all of it.
Okay.
But I'm going to play some more of it for sure.
That's fair. Is that it? Anything else?
I think that's it. I bought a ton of stuff again. I keep buying stuff, especially VR stuff. They had that VR sale.
They did have that VR sale.
More and more VR. I gotta get into that because I'm getting like too many titles. I think I looked the other day. I think I have 29 VR titles. I've beat approximately 0.
Gotcha.
So I really need to. I really need to dedicate some time to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out because I got an email from GameStop this week, and I don't actually do a lot of shopping at GameStop. But they have begun, and this is for anyone else out there too, they have begun their layaway program.
Mm-hmm.
So I am now it's getting closer to where I need to make some choices on the Switch or the VR because, but there's going to be coming out. I think I've decided if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get the Switch because they're supposed to be coming out. Well, they are coming out with a new and improved PSVR. Mm-hmm. So I may wait for that one.
That should already be out.
The new and improved is already out?
This should be out, yeah, with HDR pass through.
Yeah.
It should be out, but stores are probably gonna try to sell through their existing SKUs.
Right.
But the new one should already be out. But that Mario Odyssey Switch bundle's coming out too.
It is. So it would just be the system I would put on layaway.
Yeah.
I haven't yet, but I figure if I could do that, pay a little bit over the course of
the
week.
They have the Odyssey bundles, what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if they're going to allow me to...
Yeah, they'll lay away that one.
You think so?
Yeah.
I didn't see it on the list.
I bet they will.
I didn't see any bundles on the list.
Because it's not out yet. I bet they lay away it. That's like their holiday bundle.
It's like $379, is that right?
I don't know. Sounds right.
I think it's right. So I'm still working on that. And let's see, what did I play this week? I didn't play a whole lot. I actually played more Rocket League by myself than I normally do because of the Halloween loot box thing. I'm not generally a guy to play it unless you guys are on. Mm-hmm. But I've been doing some of just me on playing it to get some of that stuff. They had a sale, a Halloween sale, and I know that Shitty Games with Dan is a thing that people have talked about before. Well, it's something that started with Black Tiger, Life of Black Tiger. And it's something I'm looking into.
As a friend of yours, I could say it started way before Black Tiger.
Fuck off.
You've been loving Shitty Games for a long time.
Most of my life.
Right.
Yeah, Deadly Towers, my friend. Remember Deadly Towers?
No. It's probably shitty, though.
It is shitty. It was on the original NES.
I remember
Alpha Zelda ripoff. Had the little blobs.
Yeah.
That would always fall down from it. It was they changed it from Zelda, and they made it like a tower, obviously. But you would go to climb up a ladder, and a blob from up above you didn't even see it because you couldn't see it on the screen. It would just fall down and kill you. Fall down the ladder and kill you, and you're like,
that's a life lesson. That's a life lesson.
So anyway, in keeping with that tradition, a game I've been curious about that I know has not reviewed well, that I don't care about because Dan likes shitty games. So for like $8, $9, I picked up Technomancer. I'm not very far into it. I can definitely see some issues with it. I'm thinking that I might stream that as a Shitty Games with Dan. The thing about Shitty Games with Dan, it's always going to be a game I try first before I stream. I can't just stream it cold, because what if it's a great game?
Right. What if you go in expecting shitty and then...
Right. So I have to play it and be like, yep, this qualifies. And I think there's some things in Technomancer that... It's definitely no Life of Black Tiger.
Right.
But it's not... It's no Alpha Protocol either.
Thank God.
Fuck off.
I have read some things about Technomancer. I've also heard people who like it, so...
Right. And there are shitty games that I like. We all know that. So
yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. This one, it'll be interesting to see. And then on Thursday, Life is Strange Before the Storm Episode 2 came out. I didn't get a chance to start that until last night. I'm very early into that, but obviously it's Life is Strange. I'm super excited. And I think I remember when it first came out, you and I talked about which one to play first, how it's going to change the experience. I think it will change the experience, but I think I've determined how that would happen. I think if you play, let's see, I got to word. How did I word this right? I think if you play the first one and then the second one, you're going to be devastated. I think if you play the second one and then the first one, you'll be heartbroken. Because you know what's going to happen with these characters you're learning to love. So I think that's the closest way I can think of to come to define playing how you play those games, how you feel emotionally. I think that's the closest I can come to. Heartbroken, devastated. So that's that, and that's really all I've played. I'm still doing the winter prep because I'm doing other stuff around the house, tearing up carpets and all that fun stuff. So
adult stuff,
grown up stuff. So that's the
grown ass person stuff.
Oh sure, yeah, let's go with that. I'd rather be 4 and take a nap and shit myself and make people eat me. Actually, I don't think I shit myself when I was 4.
But you're slowly working towards that same thing.
It's a cycle. You're right.
Yeah, people feeding you, shitting your pants. People speaking for you. You're getting right back to that.
Taking naps.
Yeah.
Won't be long.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to look forward to, that circle of life.
Yes. So that was that's been my week in gaming.
Gotcha. Well, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Have a seat, take your pants off, get comfortable. This is the official Gamestitch Podcast. It posts every Monday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time on podcast services around the world. If you like what you hear, you can support us over at patreon.com/Gamestitch. We've got a couple fun rewards, some goals over there. If you don't like us, keep listening. Maybe it will grow on you. Who knows? If you can't support us over there, that's fine. This podcast will always be free. Be sure to tell your friends about us, rate us on iTunes, do all those things that help us out. And we appreciate each and every one of you for being here.
Love you.
Yeah, that's it. End the podcast. Good night. That'd be the shortest podcast ever.
Yeah.
Just shut it down in
No.
17 minutes. That'd be our shortest ever.
It would be our shortest ever. It wouldn't be the shortest podcast.
Yeah, I meant ours.
Oh, okay.
I speak about podcasts like we're the only one that exists.
That's fair enough.
Okay, so we're going to jump into I'm going to say, deeper conversation this week than normal.
Yeah.
We got some emails. I got some texts from people that want us to talk about a couple different things. One of them that I was sort of avoiding just because I don't know. I thought it might be hard to discuss on this platform. The other is something that everyone has talked about this week. So we'll jump into that first story.
Sure.
EA packed a double whammy announcement into a single post on its blog Tuesday. The company announced that internal game studio and also a game were basically being totally one was being ramped down and the other was being blown up, more or less. Dissolved, if people like that better. They fucking blew it up, though. Visceral Games, which began life as EA Redwood Shores in 1998, is now ramping down, and members of its staff are being moved to as many projects as possible, according to EA executive Patrick Soderlund. The studio is best known for its Dead Space trilogy, but as of recent had snagged headlines because the studio has been put in charge of one of EA's upcoming unnamed Star Wars games, and the project was being led by all-star industry vet Amy Hennig of Uncharted fame.
Yeah.
So this is a game that a lot of people were very excited about.
Yeah, I was excited about it. A lot going on here, man.
Right, so that's bad enough. If I just told you that's bad enough. If I just said Visceral's shutting down, that Star Wars game is getting dissolved, you're like, oh man, that's not cool. That's a bad story.
Right.
But then the justification is the part that's really got people
up in arms,
feeling some sort of way. The games appears to have been all but shut down. So we don't really know. It appears that way. So in Soderlund's statement, he said it was shaping up to be a story-based linear game. Feedback about what and how our fans want to play demands a fundamental shift, and the marketplace is changing. So they're going to a service, a service type game. I mean, that's the new norm.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so weird about this is, games as a service is obviously something that everyone sees the big... I think Activision Blizzard made $3.6 billion last year. 2016. I don't have that figure in front of me. I think that's right, though. Just off of service, DLC, loot boxes, all that stuff. It's a huge part of the market, but there still has to... As a gamer, as just someone who likes to play games...
You need that diversity.
I need something else, too.
Right. No,
I don't give a damn about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn about Star Wars. I was going to play this because I wanted to see the story that she wrote, and it seemed like something I could sit down and play through.
Even without understanding or knowing a lot about the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. And I am guilty of this sometimes. I look at a game and I think, yeah, but once I play it, I'll be finished with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucked up way to look at it because that's how games are supposed to work. So, really what I'm saying is this game's doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
But, at the same time, the market has shifted. Things have changed.
As production costs have gone up, obviously game publishers and developers are looking for ways to continue to make money off of that money they invested, to continue to collect revenue on money they've already invested. I completely understand that. That's capitalism. That's how capitalism works. However, when you're talking entertainment, which, let's face it, at the end of the day, that's what movies are. That's what gaming is. That's what books are. That's what they are. They are entertainment. Yes, over time they can become art, or people are trying to create art, but they are entertainment for a mass amount of gamers. You have to have variety and options in that entertainment, and without that, you stagnate your own product. So
right. And let me back up a little bit for those that aren't familiar with that term, games as a service. Let me give you a elevator pitch on what that is to me. So games as a service is something like Destiny, something like even something like WoW, where you do actually pay a subscription. Something like, and a lot of people may not like this, something like Overwatch, Rocket League.
Mm-hmm.
Those are games as a service because they continue to add through monetization new things. Even games that have healthy DLC lives, like The Division.
Yes.
Game, that would be something like that. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. You know, Ubisoft, I think, has really shown what can happen with support.
Mm-hmm.
Those games, a lot of those games came out to nothing, no fanfare. Right. And through that service that they've continued to offer, have built a huge cult following for those.
A huge fan base. And I think in the cases of Ubisoft, what we've seen is they have made their games better through games through service.
Mm-hmm.
Made them more attractive to gamers.
And I want to be careful to say that I don't think this is a bad thing. I think games as a service is not a bad thing.
It can't be the only thing.
Right, but I think it could get very scary very quick.
Yep.
I don't know where this leads to. You know, if they're blowing up a game I was excited about. Now, I will say, and this is just me, I think this had issues bigger than just them saying, hey, we could make more money. You don't take a game that was supposed to be out next year in most cases and blow it up because you think you can make more money.
Right.
But I don't know the ins and outs and what was going on over at Visceral, and I don't know EA's thinking. EA didn't have the best year ever as far as games go, but they always got that Madden money. It's always rolling in. And
they might not have had a great year. They did fine.
Battlefront's going to be huge.
But
Battlefields, you know, they're fine. They're not struggling by any stretch of the imagination. I just think this gaming is going through this trend right now where they just chase whatever's making the money right then.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of scares me a little bit because I don't want you to have to take everything and fit it into that mold no matter what.
Right. And here's what I feel like has happened is, particularly with our AAA titles and our major third-party developers, is they are... I understand they need to make money, but they are scaling back. They seem to be trying to almost scaling back on creativity. And when you do that, like I said before, you stagnate your own product. You stagnate your people. Your people have to have that. They have to have that outlet. If they have, you know, if you hire a creative director, he needs to be creative. That's his actual job title. You know?
Surely not.
I mean, if not, he's not going to be happy. Because he wants to create. And you can't stagnate that creativity to fit everything into a box that's going to, because that's what your stockholders want. And it almost seems like, and it's essentially it's gamers' fault in the end. These companies are too concerned with answering to their stockholders that they're forgetting about the people who actually put money in their pockets. The problem is, and this is where it's gamers' fault, is gamers are still spending the money just to have whatever. We don't hold publishers and developers accountable for good products so much anymore.
And we say it a lot, to vote with your wallet. I just think it's hard.
It is, and I mean, but this is not 100% true. But there's no rhyme or reason to why Mass Effect Andromeda tanked. I still can't figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
And it tanked. But there's other games out there.
But people bought it. I don't think it necessarily tanked financially. I think that game tanked after the fact.
Okay, which is fair.
But I do think a lot more people wait now. People still buy it, but I think people wait. But that $60 they didn't spend on Andromeda, it went to something else.
Yeah,
it didn't just go in their pocket.
But and that's what I feel like. Is I feel like we're so maybe it's just the way that I don't know we are today as gamers, as people. But we are so tuned to so attuned we want the new thing. We want more of that.
Everybody's got FOMO though.
You know,
you're missing out.
It's like, oh, I want more games. I want. There's 4 games coming out, and I don't want to. I need them. I need that we don't. We're not buying based on our own what we're looking for in a game. We buy just to have more games. is how it feels sometimes.
Yeah,
in your case,
I'm guilty.
In your case, you collect. It's different.
Yeah, I'm guilty of not wanting to miss a game that might be good.
Right. Instead
Whereas
of waiting,
I just buy, I'm like, what if it's great? Yeah, cool, because I know if I wait, there'll just be something else great out, and I won't be able to play it then either.
right.
But I do think there's a scary trend right now. Like, as you said, as a creative director, if you got hired somewhere right now,
And you're working on Madden 4011 because that's how many of them there are. What is that doing for you?
we're just saying you get hired to the studio right now, and you go in and you say, I've got all these awesome ideas, and they're like, those are great. Now, how can we make those a battle royale mode?
Right.
And you're like, well, that's not.
That's not.
I mean, they're not. That's not really what they are.
Right.
Plus, PUBG and Fortnite, those are really good. Those are really good options. Yeah, but they're not Star Wars. How do we do Star Wars Battle Royale? It's like, okay, but that's not really what I want. I mean, I'm trying to do something different. Okay, people don't buy different.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the thought of, and I get it. Hey, you're on the board of these big ass companies, and you see all this money, all these headlines that PUBG get, and you're like, where's ours?
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to get us one, Patrick? We want one. And you're like, well, we don't have the staff to do another one. Well, fucking blow up something that you're already doing because we want one of those.
Right.
We'll have one of those, please. And they chase the dollar. I mean, you can, and it didn't just start happening. This has been happening in games for a long time. But they chase the trend, and that's why and now keep in mind, a lot of what I'm saying right now, this is just how I feel.
Mm. Oh, me too. Keep that.
It's
also.
So
all
refreshing.
The stuff I'm saying is how I feel.
It's so refreshing when you find something that's different. When Stardew comes out, and people are like, "Oh wow, it's been a long time since I played something like this," or whatever. Rocket League at the time,
yeah,
like it was just refreshing to have something different. And I think those experiences are still coming out just as fast. Like those haven't gone away. You still find those things. Your Life is Strange. Your games like that still come out. But at the same time, your big dogs, because they have so much. There's so much cost associated with everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at inflation, games are cheaper now than they've ever been.
Yeah.
And they cost more than they have ever cost to make. So they do have to find a way. It's not enough just to make a AAA game and put it out. Like, there's got to be more. You see it even in Uncharted. It's not enough for them to make a badass story. It has to have multiplayer. It has to have loot boxes. It has to have a way for you to spend real money.
Yep.
It has to, because those games cost too much to make.
And some would argue that this is the fault of, all the cell phone games started this. Little app games, iPhone games. It was going to get here eventually. Did it maybe speed it up? Maybe. I don't know. But it was going to get here. There were always, the companies were always going to be looking to make as much money as they possibly could. And this was always going to happen at some point. Someone, sooner or later, was going to come up with this idea of loot boxes and games of service. Yeah. So don't think this was something that could ever have been avoided. It's just that's I need more than just that. That's my worry, is that yes, they're making all this money on the games of service and DLC and loot boxes, and we make so much money, and now every game I play is that. It's the same thing. That's my fear. That's what I don't want. I need diversity. I need my Life is Strange. I need my Gone Homes. I need The Division. I need Mass Effect. I need Technomancer, Life of Black Tiger. I need the good stuff. I need the shit, and I need them all to be different. I can't just play the same game over and over and over again, in the same style of game over and over and over again, with all of the same little things that are going on, with all the same loot boxes. That's my fear, is that diversity is going to go away.
Yeah, but and so for everyone out there, it's like, I've never bought a loot box, I don't understand them, blah blah blah. You're not alone. People like that exist. Mm-hmm. But you are slowly becoming the minority.
I'll be like, speaking to that though. I've never bought a loot box.
Right.
But I bought keys to open loot boxes.
Right, which is the same thing. It's a different model, but it's the same idea. But, just so games as a service has tripled the industry's value. That's coming from a report from Digital River, which is a monetization service company. So don't think that it's not working. It may not work for you, but it's 100% working for people.
Yeah, but no doubt.
They go on to say in this report that consumers are less willing to pay $60 for a box game and instead choose titles with a steady stream of new content. And things like that are what boards look at.
Right.
They're what studio heads look at. They're what publishers look at. They're what developers look at. Okay, sure, this game is $10, but how do I make money after the $10? Or sure, it can't be $60 and I not have a way to make money after. It's not just about the money. It's about people wanting additional content after too.
Right. And
so, to me, our need for more has fed this games as a service.
Well, and it's almost kind of a catch-22 because when you and this is on the same topic, but kind of stretching it even a little further. You start looking at a lot of this DLC loot boxes. This is all digital. All this happens digitally. Once you get into digital aspect of things, you're talking security. You're talking hackers. You're talking the gray market.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many more other things that can go on with this than just that stifling of creativity or getting the same thing over and over again. I mean, there are legitimate security concerns about what games as service can do to the gamer.
It's such a new area. It's hard to know how we need to be safeguarded.
Right.
Because I think we probably do.
Yeah, there's a number of stories out there.
So
people, people all the time. I mean, if you go on eBay right now, how many code keys can you find for whatever game?
Oh yeah,
are those legitimate?
I don't know.
If you buy that code and go to enter it in, does it work?
But it exists with everything. If I buy a ticket to an NFL game, it might be fake.
Right.
It's so hard to tell. And so we're going to keep this topic alive, but I also want to talk about loot boxes and if we shift back and forth and just stick with us.
Sure.
Because loot box is the other thing people have reached out to me and said, hey, you guys talk about it. It's the thing I was kind of avoiding because I don't hate the loot box. I actually kind of like the loot box. But I understand that we need safeguards there also. Like, should games that offer loot boxes, should those come with a different rating? Should those be teen for teen? Should they be mature titles? Should Rocket League be E for everyone, knowing that the kid can get in there and spend thousands of dollars?
Well, I mean, we've talked about that before. At this point, you as a parent of your child, you've got to take some responsibility for policing your child. But it's your kid. If something bad happens, ultimately the responsibility falls on you until that child has enough wherewithal. Me, I don't have any kids. I keep my credit card pretty close to me so I can just enter stuff in and buy it. If I had a 4-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 13-year-old, I probably wouldn't do that.
If you were not as informed in games, though, and you had children, would you want to be able to glance at the box and see that there's going to be additional purchases that they're going to want? I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to this, but as someone who doesn't know, and they buy their kid Shadow of War, should they know that their kids then going to constantly want more money to buy loot boxes?
I don't think so. I don't think that's necessary because it's very easy to say no.
Are those games even complete without those things?
That's where we run into a problem.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is. And that's why, like you, I have no problem with loot boxes as long as it's not affecting the play of the game. It doesn't affect my entire playthrough. I don't want to pay to be better at a game.
Right.
I don't want to pay to get the complete experience of a game. You know, toppers, that kind of stuff. Now, if you're just talking randomized loot boxes, you can do whatever you want in them that aren't getting paid for. But I don't want to pay for the chance to get the best gun in the game. Offer that to me randomly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we run into. It's, you know, Rocket League. You got this car you've been trying to get forever, but it doesn't change the game. It's not like it's a better car. Right. It's just a cool looking car.
But I don't even want to play with the car. I just want it.
Right.
But there is those endorphins release when you open a crate.
Well, I understand that.
Feels good. Feels good to open a crate, right?
It does feel good.
So, like when I was a kid, I used to buy a lot of basketball cards. I collected basketball cards. It's the same feeling. Mm-hmm. You open it up and you're like, "Oh, what's next? What's next? What am I getting?" You know, it's that same feeling. And sometimes you get junk, and sometimes you get something good.
Well, that's just like, you know, why we're talking about this. Talking about the ESRB. There's talk that the people want it to be rated as gambling.
Right. Because
you're loot boxes or you're taking a chance. Well, if that's the case, then Magic the Gathering is gambling.
And so that's their argument, but I would say it's a little different in that you can sell those duplicates. You can still make money off of those things. You're getting a physical product every time. Whereas here you're not. And so let's just say with where the ESRB came down on this, they said that it's not gambling. The ESRB does not consider loot boxes to be gambling, according to a spokesperson who emailed Kotaku. While there's an element of chance in these mechanics, the player is always guaranteed to receive an in-game content.
And I think that's the key.
Even if the player unfortunately receives something they don't want. We think of it as similar principle to collectible card games. Sometimes you'll open a pack and get a brand new holographic card, and you've had your eye on for a while, but other times you'll end up with a pack of cards you already have.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, though, is you spend money, you get something. That's how any transaction works.
Right, and I think we could all agree that a loot box is not gambling, but is it simulated gambling is where I think people are, because ESRB has a rating for simulated gambling.
No.
And I think that's where people are coming down, because you're not necessarily wagering real money, but you are gambling at the chance to have something, whether it be with in-game currency or maybe you did buy the currency.
Well, but if that's the case, there's plenty of games out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but where you open a crate at the end of a game or a chest or whatever, and you get a randomized item. Is that simulated gambling because you don't know what you're going to get? And we're talking prior to games for service here. We're talking just.
I think it's a little different because it didn't take. When it takes currency, then maybe. In Zelda, if you had to pay $2 to open a chest.
But you were guaranteed to get something. Yeah, I fall down differently on that side of it.
I don't know if gambling is the right term for it, but there is definitely something.
That's how transactions work.
But there's something addictive about it. Like people can get hooked on it.
I understand that, but in its simplest form, you pay for something, you get something. You pay for this product. You pay for a product, you receive a product. In its simplest form, that's the transaction.
Right. It's kind of like if you went to a store and it said this is DLC for Zelda, but you went to the description and it was just question marks.
Right.
It's definitely DLC for Zelda.
Right.
But you don't really know what it is. Would you buy that? That's what a loot box is. It's a crapshoot.
And the thing is, and this is why I feel like this is probably at least part of the reason that people don't like this is because loot boxes, in a certain sense, leave people accountable for their own actions.
Right.
And let's face it, nobody in the world today wants to be held accountable for anything they've done.
So I'm going to give you my quick fix because I don't want to run in circles here.
Okay.
I've heard this a couple other places. I like this idea. I like loot boxes, first off. No, I don't want to get rid of loot boxes. Every game doesn't need them. I don't want to get rid of them. There's something feels good about, watching that wheel spin in Rocket League and not knowing what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Rocket League being the only game that I have ever bought loot boxes for.
Oh, I haven't. I bought loot boxes.
Yeah, I've never bought keys for anything else. That's it. It's the first time. And Rocket League did finally incorporate a way to open crates without money, though it's just temporary right now. It appears that they're going to let you do that. They also let you buy crates, which almost feels a little more filthy. But anyways, I think the easy fix is, and I know no one's going to want to do this. It goes against everything that like a place like a casino, sets everything up. But if they just tell you what you've spent this month, if the game tells you what you've spent if I log in Rocket League and it says, "Hey, welcome to Rocket League, you spent $412 this month," I go, "Fuck, that's too much."
Right.
I'm not going to buy any more crates this month. I think that's the easy fix for all games. All they did, just tell me what I've spent.
Because again, they don't want to do that.
No, they don't want that.
That'll never happen.
But see, that's where it does get a little bit like gambling then. Because if it's not gambling, then just tell me what I've spent. If you're not trying to pull one over on me, then just tell me what I've spent. Because it's hard to remember. Because it's $1 here, $1.50 here, $2 here.
Okay, just to play against type on this to kind of devil's advocate it. You know how much I go to Walmart probably 3 times a week. You know how much food or whatever I end up throwing out? So does Walmart now need to tell me how much I spend?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know where it ends. It just seems like if I think my problem is the industry is spending so much time trying to say we're not trying to screw anybody over. It's like, okay, milk people never say that. Purity's never said I'm not trying to screw anybody over with milk. Like, I think the fact that the game industry's put so much focus on being like, no, loot boxes are fine, like it's just a service to our customers. Like, if that's the case, then protect your consumers too.
I mean, I do
Maybe it's just a statement you send out. Maybe the game doesn't tell me. Maybe at the end of the month you say, hey, here's how much you spent on each game.
I mean, I do understand what you're saying. Unfortunately, I think that leaves too much room to let the people who are doing the purchasing off the hook.
There's no way for me to know what I spent on Rocket League because when I go look, it's just PlayStation Network purchases. When I go look on my card, all I can see is PlayStation Network purchases.
Okay. Yeah, no,
I can see what I spent total, but I don't know what I spent on Rocket League.
No, but you can make an educated guess.
Sorta. I mean, not really. I buy a lot. Most people could probably make an educated guess, but I buy a lot of stuff. It's hard to say.
Maybe.
Do I have to set up a whole different card just to see what I'm spending, or do I have to write it down on a piece of paper every time? Maybe, maybe that's the answer. And I don't care. I'm going to keep spending.
See, and that's the thing. That would be for you to determine because you're accountable for that action.
But there's no reason, if they care about the consumer, and if it's getting out of hand, which it obviously is. I mean, some people can't stop.
Okay.
Like, that's the real problem. Some people can't stop.
Well, then an intervention is in place.
Right. But some people don't know they need help because they can't see.
How many times did the casinos stage an intervention for their gambling addiction?
I mean, they got numbers posted everywhere on everything because they understand it's a real thing. But I feel like it's not being treated because they're so stuck on it not being gambling. Mm-hmm. But addiction doesn't necessarily mean you're gambling. You can be addicted to all kinds of shit that's not gambling.
That's true. No, I was using that as I was using that as an example.
But I have a friend though who used to smoke, and always smoked whatever, didn't care. Well, he started doing his balancing his budget, using an Excel spreadsheet, keeping track of what he was spending. It's like, wow, I spent a lot of money on cigarettes. Smoking for years, never knew, never cared because he was going to smoke either way.
Right.
But to see it on paper was enough that he started, he eventually quit because of that. I just wonder what difference it would make if you could see what you spent. I would probably spend a little less if I knew what I spent. I don't care. I'm the same boat. I don't care what I'm spending because I'm going to buy them anyways. But if I knew, I probably would spend a little less. Because it's probably more than it should be.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's a tough one right now. My thing is Yeah, I got all kinds of games I want, but I also like to eat. I like to have a roof over my head, so I don't buy all the games I want.
Right.
I guess I don't have that problem. So.
Yeah, and I don't either. That's why it's so tough.
I mean, I can't. I guess I can't. I can't see that other side because I've never been there.
Yeah.
You know, I can't. I don't know. You know, if I don't. Yeah. If I had my way, I'd go out and buy 10 games a day. I would own every video game out there.
I don't expect the publishers to put this in there, but I wonder if, as gamers, we should demand things like this. Because eventually someone will cave to pressure, they will put it in, and then everyone will start to expect it.
Yeah, I guess.
And I just wonder if we should start thinking about that now, because loot boxes aren't going away. They're in Shadow of War, which doesn't even make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know why they're in that doesn't me either, but yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they're in Uncharted multiplayer, which doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, I get it, it's cosmetic, but like, why? They're everywhere, and I
don't have a problem with those. It doesn't change the way you play the game.
So I don't have a problem with any loot boxes. I don't have a problem with games as a service. I just want people to be informed, because we could go down a very scary road.
It can get scary very quickly.
Yes.
You're right.
And that'll transition us into our next very scary story, which is where all of this could lead. Because if you just take what we were just talking about and wrap it up into Fucksville, it's this next story.
Yeah, this is some fucked up shit right here. This is some horror movie shit as far as I'm concerned.
So Activision has patented matchmaking that encourages player to buy using microtransactions. That's right. Let that soak in. They have patented matchmaking that encourages you to spend your money. That's gross. It's already gross. Mm-hmm. But it gets a little worse when they explain how it works. So more or less, what they want you to do. Now you can see diagrams and all this. You can go read the patent. I'm going to boil this down for you. They will. I'm going to use the example of a first-person shooter, because that's what was used in the actual patent. You jump in. You're not playing very well. You're not winning. These players all feel better than you. But you notice everyone who is playing better than you has let's say, a fancy sniper rifle. You're like, man, maybe they're all playing better than me because they have that gun. Oddly enough, that gun's available for $299. So you spend the $299. You buy that gun. The game then places you into a match with players who are not as good as you. And what you don't realize is you just became all those people that were above you. All those people that you were watching and saying, hey, maybe if I had that gun. You're that guy. You're destroying everybody. You got 16 kills and 1 death. All those players then start thinking, maybe I should buy that gun. Guess what? For $299 you can. Yeah, but then after a while, it moves you to a tier where you can't win anymore. Because all those players, now they got a new sniper rifle. And you're like, oh, I can't win because I don't have that. Because remember last time when I got that, that's all I needed. And it's this never-ending cycle of this game tricking you into thinking you need to buy something and then rewarding you for buying it.
Yeah.
And this is like so bad I want to pause the podcast and take a shower.
This is fucking gross. This is why so many people this is how these game companies get such a horrible fucking name. It's shit like this. Trying to manipulate and twist your consumer like this is just fucking gross.
It is gross.
It's so gross.
If you're thinking, oh well, it's just Activision looking at things and trying to. This was done in 2015. It just got approved.
You can't tell me they haven't tried putting this in something. Right.
And so, for 30 seconds ago when I was telling you I like loot boxes and I like games as a service, this is the scary road, though, that it can go down if we don't demand.
Yeah, if
we don't demand some things now.
This patent takes randomization out of matchmaking in a way that has never been done before. I mean, this is more disgusting than like a level 24, putting a level 2 in a level 24 room. Remember Uncharted 2 did that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is so much worse. So much worse. Because
this is designed...
Go ahead. Manipulating that unevenness into happening only to take your money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking con. They're running... Activision is trying to run a long con on all of its consumers.
It's designed to punish and reward you for spending money or not spending money. And, you know, up until this point, most of the loot boxes that people are accepting of are cosmetic only.
Mm-hmm.
But when every game has cosmetic loot boxes, how long until things become pay to win? Most of your mobile free-to-play is already pay to win. It's grind out forever or pay to win.
Right.
So how long until these business models start to come together? Activision did respond to this.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if it makes anyone feel better, but they said this is an exploratory patent filed in 2015 by an R&D team working independently from our game studios. This has not been implemented in-game.
Okay, here's the thing. That's great. That's a bunch of bullshit. You don't file a patent to intend to never use it. Not for something like this. You don't file a patent that can literally make you money and not intend to use it.
What if our savior, Activision, only patented it so no one else could use it because it's so bad?
Because it's so powerful? Yeah, exactly.
What if that's what they did?
It's also important to note that, like, 2.5 milliseconds after this hit the internet, Bungie community leader David DJ Dag went on Twitter saying, "We don't use this." Nope.
Just a quick FYI, Destiny 2 not using this fucked up system. You know, and I think though that is the thoughts of most people in the industry.
If Activision using it, who else is using it? Well, Activision.
Yeah, but my thing is, I think people don't want this. People making games don't want this.
They shouldn't want
this. They have to build the business into the game that they want to make.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want this. Naughty Dog doesn't want Last of Us 2 to... Are you struggling with this level? How about this gun for $1.99? They don't want that. You know, but you have to make sure that your game can be monetized and make money, and that's how you get to make a second one, and it's a slippery slope.
Not like that.
No, this is bad.
But power equals greed equals power. So, yes, Activision is planning on using this. Activision will put this into a place sometime, and they won't tell you. You will not know what's happening until some hacker or anonymous or somebody breaks the news that, hey, guess what? Remember that patent that Activision said that was only exploratory? Well, they've been using it for 3 years. And then everybody's going to be all up in arms.
It won't be as egregious as the example given here.
No.
But I do think it will be implemented.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. You know, right now the drive is I want that skin, or I want that car, or I want that hat, or I want whatever it is, cosmetic. I want my person to look different. I want my car to look different. I want this. I want that. But when it becomes like, I need it in order to be better.
Uh-huh.
And everyone out there says, well, then I just wouldn't spend the money. What if it's a game you really love, though?
Right.
You know, what if it's... And this is not a new thing. You know, let's look back to Little Big Planet. To build better levels, you needed to buy those packs with better things in them.
Yeah.
You were paying to make that game better. And it was a pay to win. To get plays, you needed a better level. You know, it's not a new idea, but it's for it to manipulate you in a way.
Yeah, it's so outrageously, egregiously.
Yeah.
Just there, just right. It's right in front of you. At
purposely
this point,
put you with people better so that you suck.
Right.
To frustrate you into spending money.
And making sure that they stick you with the people who are better, so that you know you suck.
And then immediately shifting after the purchase to make you feel good about it.
Yep.
That's some real casino shit.
It's a con. Activision, a bunch of con artists. Pieces of shit.
I don't know, it's a gross story.
You know what? This is why you need to just stick with independent games. Just stick with indie games. Fuck the AAA publishers. That's not true. That's a very blanket statement. Yes, they do put out some good games, but I think we're seeing a lot of independent creators are really more in it for the creative experience, more so than.
I would say that's mostly true. Yeah, I would say that's mostly true.
Mostly true. It's obviously not 100% true, but I think independent studios these days really are in the business of. They still have that passion for it. They just want to make a good game that they would want to play.
And I think it always starts as that, even for the big ones.
Well, yeah, it does. But then that lure, that power lure, brings you back in. The triangle of death.
Yeah. I don't know. Let us know what you think. Podcast at Gamestitch.com or hit us up on Twitter at @game_stitch. We'd love to have conversations with you guys about this because, everyone comes down differently on it. And I'm somebody right now who likes games as a service and likes loot crates, but I think we also should be responsible enough to look to the future.
And yes, I think it's very obvious from the stories today that while they are somewhat innocent and we enjoy them now, there is a definite path not taken.
Right.
That could very easily be taken. And we need to be aware of that and safeguard ourselves because the game companies are not going to.
Right. And we preach it and it's hard, but really, really do vote with your wallet. That's all they care about is your money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to burst anyone's bubble. They don't care if you're happy.
Nope.
They only care if you're spending your money. Don't spend your money on it. It's hard. I'm no good at it either. I suck at it. So, I mean,
I'm probably
not
a little better at
like,
it than Ryan. I'm probably a little better at it than you.
I like to buy things. I don't, I buy a lot of DLC. I don't buy a lot of loot crates except for, Rocket League. I do buy keys, but I do buy a lot of DLC. I buy DLC for almost every game that I have that has DLC. Even games I don't like, sometimes I buy a DLC thinking it might be better than the game. Probably not.
Probably not.
The game. Right. So let us know what you think. Let's move on to maybe a happier story. I don't know. This next one's weird too. IGN has acquired Humble Bundle. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's always a good idea when you're people who are writing reviews for consumers to make intellectual and informed choices on are buying companies that publish games and sell games. That's a good mix. That's like peanut butter and jelly.
So yeah, most people know Humble Bundle as a place to go get a bundle of games. They donate money to charity. It's a good thing. Everybody's getting happy. Money for charity, money for Humble Bundle. You're getting a lot of games for cheap. But they do also have got into the production of games. Mm-hmm. They help make games happen. They have games coming out.
And the best part is now the games that are coming out will be reviewed by the people who own the games.
Right.
Nothing can go wrong there, right?
They announced their publishing initiative in February, and they've got games coming out. Hat and Tom being the first and soonest. So what does IGN do? Now, here's what I will say.
Go ahead, and then I'll talk about fucking Mitch Galbraith with his fucking robotic fucking statement that he gave.
All I was going to say is this same thing happened when GameStop started Game Trust. They're like, is Game Informer going to review these games? It's not been a problem.
Yeah.
It's not been a big deal.
I don't know.
You know what? If you know that Game Trust is GameStop, which they're pretty clear, you can find that information anywhere.
Yeah.
And then you understand that GameStop owns Game Informer, which everyone who's ever been in a GameStop is very aware that they own Game Informer.
They do.
Maybe look somewhere different for your reviews.
Yeah,
I don't know if they can not show some sort of bias. I don't know, but Metacritic doesn't have bias. They don't care. They just take everybody's reviews and slam them together. It's like Rotten Tomatoes. Just go look at it. Yeah. They don't have any skin in the game. So, and if you look at Game Trust games, what they've done, Deformers, they've done, what was
Under the Sea? No, not.
It's not what it's called, but that's kind of what it is. They did that fucking game.
Yeah,
the submarine one. It's actually really good. Metroidvania. I can't remember what that is. Anyways, They've done a handful of games. Nobody's talking about them. No one's... It's not changed the game. So this feels a little icky, but I don't know that it'll actually matter.
I don't know. I think the biggest problem I have with it is that Humble Bundle gives their money to charity. And
yeah,
IGN is known incredibly for not being very charitable. So maybe that's the gross part.
It's the IGN trying to protect their business model.
It's kind of like if Donald Trump bought a woman shelter.
Right.
It's kind of like, nah, that's weird. Yuck.
It's just IGN trying to protect, what they are. Same thing that GameStop went through. Like that business model.
They're trying to preserve themselves.
They may not have longevity.
In the future, yeah.
Right.
I get that. Anyway, Mitch, back to good old Mitch Galbraith's fucking robotic statement. He stated he's vice president and general manager of IGN. Editorial integrity is something we take very seriously at IGN, and I am confident that we will strike the right balance when it comes to our coverage of Humble Bundle and the games they sell. Our readers and customers have always come first, and that won't change. The problem I have with this statement, Mitch, is that it has to change because now you own a gaming company. So your readers can't come first because then you're not making money on your other side of things.
Right.
So you do two things now. You can't just say that the people for the one thing are the only ones that matter. We bought this other thing, but we don't care about it? No.
Right.
You do.
I mean, there's people that have long thought that all of these big GameSpots and IGNs
are bought off.
Polygons, they buy the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that's not true. But I do know that when I go to GameSpot, it's got a giant ad for some fucking game in the background.
Right.
That is bought and paid for. They may not be telling me that game's good, but they are telling me that game fucking exists every time I go there.
Yeah.
So, I think the easiest answer here is for IGN just not to review these games.
Probably.
Put your gross ad up top for your game. I get it. But just don't review them. Don't say they're good or bad. Don't say anything. Don't bring in a third party. It's still no one's going to trust it. Just don't review them. Other people will review them. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
You drive business with those ads. Yeah, write an editorial about it. Don't review it.
Right.
But we'll see. Who knows? Next story. Kind of a big story. Kind of a weird story. Nintendo Switch 4.0 update is out. And they kind of stealth slid in some big stuff. But it also a tip of the hat to Nintendo for still kind of making it shitty.
Yeah, they went stealth mode to give you really good stuff, but they only give you half of the really good stuff.
Yeah, so you can capture video now
for 30 seconds
on 4 games. Wrap your head around what we just said. 30 seconds at a time on 4 games, one of which does not work yet. The video capture you've always wanted, half a minute at a time on 3 games. Those games are The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, ARMS, Splatoon 2, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is not yet functional, because it'll be part of the next update that hits. So if you've always wanted to record the last 30 seconds of ARMS, Doctor, you're in luck.
Or maybe the middle 30 seconds.
You can trim it in case 30 seconds is too long.
Right.
They've given you that ability in case you're like, this thing's running long.
This is Nintendo's version of Snapchat.
Let me tell you this is the first thought I had when I read this.
What?
What if I did a video series with 30-second clips? The whole show's only 30 seconds long. How much information could I squeeze out of 30 seconds?
You'd have to try it.
Yeah. I'm not going to be doing that, by the way. You can also post the clips to Facebook or Twitter. So
30
if you're hoping to get
clips
them
of 4 games.
If you were hoping to get them on YouTube, not happening right now. It's so weird. They also added 12 new Super Mario Odyssey and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild icons for the users. So I know something is, people are wanting that. Here's the biggest thing. You can now transfer user and save data to another system. It's not a memory card like people want, but it's a step in the right direction. I can now buy a Switch, transfer my data over to that. So you got to have 2 switches. You go to the section, hit the button, and it allegedly will do it. So it's a beginning.
That's what I hear.
I still got to let it get on memory cards so I don't fill up my space and then my Switch break and I lose everything. But still, it's beginning. They got some other crap here. I don't really think it matters. I think those are the 3 big ones.
Yeah.
The 3 big things we did here. You can check out the full notes on Nintendo's. But yeah, game capture 30 seconds at a time, new icons, and the transfer of user and save data between switches. I've got 2 more stories. I don't have to go over them, or I can go over them.
Pick one. How's that?
Okay.
This is a complete and utter surprise to me. I don't know what these are. So.
Okay. You're going to need a piece of paper for this one.
Why? I'm not doing math. Fuck
make
that.
sense of what I'm about to tell you. Sony Music
mm-hmm.
has launched an indie game publishing label. One more time. Sony Music has launched an indie game publishing studio. Studio is called Unties. Or Unties. But I think it's Unties. So that's weird.
Is there more?
Yeah, so that's weird already. To make it more weird, they will be publishing these games for PlayStation 4, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. Sony making games for the Switch.
So weird.
So this is Sony Music. It is not Sony Computer Entertainment. It's not Sony Interactive Entertainment. It's not PlayStation Music branded. It's Sony Music Entertainment. And Sony says they want to penetrate the ever-expanding video game market with indie games, which are continuing to draw attention even within Japan. I don't even know what to do with any of this. It's so weird to me that Sony Music is making games.
Yeah, especially when they have like entertainment and video games divisions.
It's so weird that Sony's making games that'll come out on Switch. It's all so weird.
No, Nintendo is doing shit right by getting in bed with everybody a little bit. They're just sleeping around all over the place.
Yep.
They have cross-play with Xbox. They got indie titles from Sony.
The first Unties game will be Tiny Metal, made by Area 35. It's coming out on November 21st. It's a turn-based strategy game, which has an Advance Wars feel, and it's coming out on PS4, PC, and your Nintendo Switch. So for everybody's like, yeah, they could, but they won't. They fucking are.
They are.
They are. Next month, they are.
In November of 2017.
Yeah. Like a month away, they are.
That's a really odd story.
Yeah, it is. It's very odd. And maybe nothing comes of it, but why is it under music? I get that PlayStation can't lower themselves to make a game for Nintendo, but why wouldn't you just do like an offshoot of at least Sony Interactive Entertainment?
Yeah, there's no idea.
It's not a division of the music channel. It's them trying to put distance between it and PlayStation.
Right.
It's not in no way a division of the music channel.
Exactly.
Of business.
No, it's not.
I read that story and I was like,
so weird.
Huh. So not a story that I pulled, but I also want to tell everybody, go to the PlayStation blog and look at this mini controller that Sony has coming out.
Oh, I saw it.
It looks like a Joy-Con, but it's a PS4 controller.
Yeah, it's for tiny hands.
It's for kids or Burger King hands. Little bitty. It's weird.
Tiny hands.
It's also corded, which is great for kids.
It's also what?
Corded? Wired. Yeah. Great for kids.
Oh, yeah, they can pull your PlayStation right down off.
Right off in the floor.
Have it on.
Yeah, ruin that. Doesn't have a touchpad, but it's got a touchpad button. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Deep show this week.
Yeah, I went deep.
Sometimes you have to.
We got some real news, the hard-hitting, real journalism today, I think, this week is what we did. That's what they call that, right? Journalism?
Yeah. I don't think we did that for sure.
No, I do. We covered it. I guess we gave more of editorial, like op-ed piece. I guess we would call it. If it was in your local newspaper, it would be an opinion editorial.
Op-ed, yeah.
I guess so. We got that going for us, which is nice. Which brings us to...
I think before we move on,
okay,
I just want to say, like, I think we don't do a lot of hard talking like that.
Uh-huh.
But I do think sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah, no doubt. But you can really clear a room if you stay on it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not fun. But I think
go ahead.
I just think sometimes it needs to be talked about.
Well, this kind of stuff, I think our listeners were probably actually curious about what our opinions were on this.
Yeah.
And I could totally be talking out my ass, and they could give two fucks, but...
I think you're right. I mean, I got some feedback on the loot box stuff people wanted to hear us talk about. So, final thoughts on that? Anything? We're good?
No, I think we're good. I think okay. Now it's time for your favorite segment.
My favorite segment. Gone but not forgotten, where we reach back in our gaming past, we dust off an old classic for you, we tell you all about it. Hopefully you can watch some videos. Sometimes they're gone, sometimes they're forgotten, sometimes they're gone not forgotten, sometimes they're totally gone, no one ever remembers it. I'm picking a pretty mild choice this week. Most people are going to remember this game.
Mild?
Yeah, it's not, you're not like, it's not really forgotten. It's not, I don't even know if it's gone because those games still come out. But I think a lot of the younger generation has probably never went back.
Uh-huh.
And I think you should. So my choice for the Gone But Not Forgotten is Kirby's Adventure. They're still whipping out Kirby games now. I know that people know who Kirby is. I know they understand that character. He's in Smash Bros. I get it. But Kirby's Adventure is a game that I sunk hours and hours into. And I think if you go back, it's still probably pretty pleasant to go back and play that. So I played on the NES. Came out in 1993. Kirby's a platformer. You know what Kirby is. You suck and you blow.
On the NES?
On the NES.
In 1993?
Yes. It also released for the Wii. They had it in a Virtual Console. There's a 3DS version, Wii U Virtual Console. NES, 1993. You played this, I take it.
Kirby's Adventure?
Yeah.
But I thought it was on the Super Nintendo.
It was on the NES. Maybe it also came out for the Super. I don't think so, though. I think it's just an NES game. But
I played it.
Go ahead.
I don't remember a whole lot about it, to be honest. I don't think it stuck with me like it does you. It's definitely more something you would like than what I was.
Well, see, I didn't get a ton of games when I went. We got games regularly, I would say, but I had to play my games pretty hard so that my dad thought that it was a good buy.
Gotcha.
I never wanted to not play something because I didn't want them to think they wasted their money, because then I might not get another. And I love those classic platformers, and Kirby's just something I spent a lot of time with. And I think Kirby's a neat character. Like, it doesn't make any sense. He sucks stuff in and blows it back out. He's a weird little pink, like, puff thing. Like, nothing about him makes sense. And I just think it's a cool game, and I think Kirby's Adventure was fun. And I've watched, I haven't played it in forever, but I watched a playthrough last week, and it still looks fun. Like, it's bright and colorful, and still want to play it.
Go play it.
So Kirby's Adventure. If you've got a Gone But Not Forgotten for us, make sure you hit us up on Twitter at @game_stitch using the hashtag GBNF. Now it's time for our shout out section. Remember, if you want a shout out from us, all you have to do is head over to patreon.com/Gamestitch and support us at the $10 tier over there. We have 2 shout outs this week. The first coming from our friend Thomas Barfield. So here is Thomas's shout out. My shout out: I'm 23 years old and I'm buying my first home. There's no excuse why you can't do something. #paper chase. Congratulations, Thomas. From all of us here at Gamestitch, we know that you've been working hard to get this done, so we're excited for you. And Garrett Wade, our second shout out, is also excited for you, because here's his shout out. Congratulations on becoming a homeowner, Thomas. It's a wonderful thing. Hashtag shout out. Good to see some community love there, and we are very excited for you, Thomas. And I agree. I think you're going to love owning a home, and just good news. We like to see anybody in the community doing big things there. So very excited for that. Dan's also excited, but the part that you don't know is that he dropped off of the Hangouts, the Google Hangouts that we use to record this podcast, and he can't get connected back. So if he was here, he would tell you how excited he is. But I'm actually going to finish up the show by myself today because he is angry and can't get it to work. You can follow us on the social medias. I am at Podcast Ryan. Dan is at Shirtless Dan. And together we are at Game_Stitch. Make sure you follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gamestitch. We've been streaming on there. We got streams coming out pretty regularly. And if you hit that subscribe button, also hit that little bell notification button, you'll know every time we go live through an email or push notification. So that would be something very good to do. Most of our streams do come from YouTube. However, we do Twitch every now and then, twitch.tv/Gamestitch. You can check us out there. We do have some things planned. So make sure you follow us on both of those so you know where we are and when it happens. We do try to tweet it out. A lot of times we don't give you a big heads up. It's 10-20 minutes, so you kind of got to be paying attention there. But if you get a couple updates, couple alerts from a few different places, maybe you'll be able to find us. So I want to close out by just thanking everyone. You guys are an awesome community, an awesome crowd. Blown away that you listen every week and that we have a chance to interact with some of you. And we've been doing this for a long time, 249 episodes. And every week that I wake up, I'm excited to do it. And you guys are the reason why. So it means a lot to me that you guys continue to listen and support us. And hopefully some of the new things that we try, you guys will enjoy them. And if not, we'll figure out a way to adjust them a little bit and continue to grow. So thank you for everything that you've done for us and making this podcast possible each and every week. Dan would tell you some sort of mushy stuff right now, maybe just a thank you, maybe we really appreciate it, because he's a little more hard than I am. I'm the soft one of the bunch. Dan's a little more prison. I'm a little more nursing home. You see, I'm kind of old and soft, even though I'm younger than him, and he's edgy and kind of hardened. So I would tell you something sweet, and he'd be like, "Yeah, we appreciate it." So since he's not here, I'll do that for him. This has been episode 249 of the official Gamestitch podcast. And I think that's all I have. Signing off solo this week. If you like this ending, let me know. It's going to be weird. Dan's going to hear it at the same time that you do. He's not going to know what I'm saying right here. I could say anything I wanted. He's going to have no clue because I'm in total power right now. All the control, because it's internet or whatever's happening on his end. So I'm running the ship right now. It's me. I'm Capitan. I'm not going to do anything with the power, but I just wanted you guys to know that I had it all. And good night.